Hello there and welcome to the Paletteful Packs YouTube channel. My name is Alice and I have the February 2022 Paletteful Premiere Pack here in front of me and I am so excited to open it up, so let's go ahead and see what's inside. Purple! I love purple! Oh my god, there's a kitty on the sticker! Oh, how cute! Let's start with the stickers. So we've got a cute little kitty and they're sleeping on the laptop and the Paletteful site is open on the laptop behind them. That's so cute. I love this. Ooh, there's a bunch of inks. Oh, this is so exciting. Oh, yay. Okay, so the theme for this month is metallics and pearlescence, which is so up my alley because I love shiny things. So we are going to have a few different inks in here. So it looks like we're going to have 9 of these graphics aqua inks by Marabou. There's metallic and pearlescent ones, and they're really new. You can't even get them on the store or on their website. So we are some of the first people to get to try these, which is so exciting. You can use them at full strength for really bright and vivid tones, or you can blend them with water to gradate them out and get more of a softer look, kind of like watercolors. They are watercolor inks, so they can be reworked after they're dry, so you can get that beautiful watercolor effect. And there's also a white pearlescent one that you can kind of mix colors with. It's not more of a white to be used as white, but you can mix other colors with it to make the colors more pearlescent. So that's really cool as well. Okay, let's see what is next in here. Ooh, there's some pens and a brush. Let's look at this pen here. Pentel Arts Dual Metallic Brush, pink and metallic pink. Oh, I love the pink. It works on light colored paper and dark colored paper. So this features a colored metallic ink that sparkles, and it's gonna look different on black or white paper. This is what the pen looks like. Oh, that's kind of an interesting form factor. Before each time you use the pen, give the pen a gentle shake. To increase the amount of ink in the brush tip, press the button on the back of the pen. So, shake. And then this is the brush tip, and then yeah, you push this. Very cool. Very cool. So I guess it just kind of looks more metallic or maybe less metallic or something, depending on what you use it on. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm really excited to play with it and find out how it works because this sounds really interesting. Next thing we're gonna have is a Princeton brush. So this is a nice little short-handled brush. It's a size 4 round, which is a really great all-around little brush, and it's gonna be perfect for using with these inks. Next thing we're gonna have is this Art Alternatives Pigment Liner. It's gonna be in size 0.5. I love the Art Alternatives Pigment Liners. They're great. They're gonna be great for illustration or technical drawing, sketching, all that good stuff, any kind of detail work. And they are acid-free, archival quality. When they're dry, they are going to be water and fade resistant. The last thing we have in here is the surface. This is going to be the Graphics Aqua Pad. So this is a watercolor painting paper. It's going to be 20 sheets, 220 GSM. It's going to be a natural white, acid-free, and it's a slightly textured paper with a fine grain. And it has an alien on the front. So I'm excited. Okay, so this is everything that you're going to get in the February 2022 Paletteful Premiere Packs. We've got 9 beautiful metallic and pearlescent inks by Graphics, Marabou Graphics. We've got the cute little sticker. We have the Marabou Graphics Aqua Pad, as well as the Art Alternatives Pigment Liner, the Princeton Brush, and this cute Pentel Dual Metallic Brush. So many fun metallic and pearlescent supplies here to play with. I love the shiny, so let's go ahead and start playing around with some of these supplies.
So the first thing that I'm going to do, as always, is make some swatches. This is going to make it easier for me to see what the colors are like, what the formula is like. I'm going to be able to play around with how they blend on the specific surface and also how they work with the other supplies in the box. I always recommend starting off your Paletteful box this way, especially any supplies that you're not familiar with. I also, for the liner, I drew 2 little flowers. I tried to smudge out the first one when it was still wet, but it wouldn't really smudge. So that was kind of cool. And then I went and played around with the dual metallic brush. As you can see, you just kind of press the top. I only pressed it like once or twice, I think, and it came out and saturated the tip, and it's this beautiful hot pink metallic, and it's so pretty. And you can blend it out with water and create this really pretty pink watercolor wash as well. I also then played with reactivating those inks and blending them and seeing how water resistant the pen was when it was dry, which it was pretty water resistant. Once I felt comfortable with the supplies, I went in with some sketching. So this is where, in this video, you're gonna see me kind of struggle a little bit because I had a couple ideas. Like I had this idea that I wanted these tropical plants in circles, but then I hadn't really gotten further than that. And there's a couple things that I really regret doing on this piece, specifically this part on the right, this like straight line that you're seeing. So we're going to talk about that. I started with that right side and I dampened it and I started throwing in this copper ink, which how gorgeous is that? It's so pretty. And I was thinking like maybe I could do some copper and then add some greens and some teal and it would kind of look like oxidized copper, and I thought that would look really, really cool. So that's kind of where I started. And then I jumped over while I was waiting for that to dry to the left side, and I knew exactly what this was going to look like. I was going to have this blue-green background where the leaves were a little bit more fuzzy, and then the front was going to be these tropical plants in the pinks and the reds that the plants were in. So I started with the background because you want to start with the background, kind of build up. I filled that with water, and then I just dropped the inks in. And for this, what I did was I just touched my brush to the very, very top of the ink. And that way I actually was able to get like slightly less of a metallic look for use as more general watercolors. And then I could shake them up or blend them a little bit more to get more of a metallic look. So you could actually kind of use you could use them in multiple different ways and control the amount of metallic pigment that you got, but for most of the colors, you could still get good pigment just dipping right into the top. That's what I did for all of these, just tapping onto it, and it worked really, really well. So it was cool. I was very excited about that. And I was able to kind of blend in some blues and some purples for the background, like to create some more shadow. And I also I used some water and my brush, clean water and a brush to kind of draw these little leaf shapes or stems, whatever you want to call them. And that kind of pushes away that ink and creates more of a lighter area. And I also threw in some gold in there for a little bit more of a metallic look. Now, this right side was dry, so I was like, okay, let's keep building up on it. And I made it all like wet and put in more green ink and some gold ink, and then kept back working on the left side. I was like, okay, let's go in and add some depth to this side. And while I'm working on this, I am actively hating the whole right side of this painting, but really enjoying the left side of this painting, which is kind of funny. But I'm using a mixture of some of the green and some purple to add in some more shading and just get a little bit more definition. And once that was done, I took off the tape and started with the background. I decided that doing a kind of light pink watercolor loose background would be best because most of like the circles were going to have green backgrounds, and so I thought that would provide the most contrast because we've got kind of a pink and green color scheme happening here. So I really like how that came out as well. I played around with adding some splotches. And then I decided I really needed the copper to go because it just didn't match the rest of the painting. So I really scrubbed it to lift it up, and you can actually see it lifted pretty well, which is awesome. And the paper handled it. So good job, paper. After that, I started throwing on blue and teal and doing a little bit more lifting too of the copper and trying to get in some gold as well to kind of tie in with the gold over on the left side. I couldn't completely cover the copper, but I was definitely liking what was happening on the right side a lot more, and I felt like it was starting to look a little bit more cohesive. So there's definitely still copper in there, but I tried to incorporate a little bit of that elsewhere. So in this little circle in the background, this one doesn't have plants in it. I just kind of wanted it to be more of an abstract thing. It actually kind of ends up looking a little bit like a planet, and this is where I decided to incorporate a little bit of copper, just kind of dappled into that circle. I also decided to throw an outline on this line area. I also did copper on that, although I do end up changing that at the end. I end up using the pink metallic pen over the top of it because it just didn't feel right. Then I started painting this little right plant. I started by doing the shadows in the pinky red, and then I dropped in the highlights in the gold because the plant was like yellow and red and orange, and I thought that would look really pretty. I love doing more metallic highlights because then the highlights like pop out of the page even more. I used the same technique that I used on the earlier one to do the background. I don't really know why I did the background second on this one. I just did. And the shapes of the leaves are a little bit different on this plant as well. So I kind of tried to incorporate that. Then I moved on to lines. So as you could see in the left plant, I didn't actually do any shading on the plant itself with watercolor. For this one, I wanted to go over with the pink pen and I wanted to do a lot of like detailed line work. And I really love how this came out. This is probably one of my favorite parts of this piece, is this specific little bubble and how this line work came out. Basically, I went and outlined and defined all of the petals of this plant, and then I used just some line work, straight line work to add in texture and shading, and I think it came out just really, really cool with the metallic ink and just having that slight background of that watercolor, just adding in some texture and some variance. I love it so much. It's definitely my favorite thing that I did, and I want to use that technique again. The pen was like, I love it. I love it so much. It's probably my favorite supply I think that we received, and I really loved all of them. So after that, I went in with the pigment liner and I wanted to add line art to the right side, but I wanted that to be a bit different. So for this one, I wanted to go in with the black pigment liner and I wanted to use cross hatching as well and kind of create this very illustrative look. So I went over that whole illustration on the right side with this style of lines, and for the actual plant, I went around the outline a couple times just so that it would be a little bit thicker, and then I did loosely do some lines in the background as well. Once I was done with that, I did decide to outline the actual circles themselves. I really wasn't sure if I wanted to do this or not. It was just like a really hard decision to make. And I kind of started with the back one because I felt more confident about that. And I moved to the front one and I was like, okay, I kind of like this. And I don't know, I never knew where I was going throughout this entire piece. And by the end of the piece, I still do not like the right side of the piece, but I do really like the circles. So I did the best with what I don't know. I just didn't prepare my vision in advance, but I still overall am pretty happy with how it came out. And I loved the supplies. So I really hope this helped to give you some ideas of how to use things that you got. And I hope that it helped teach you some techniques. If you'd like to get your own box, then there is a link in the description box to our website. And thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.